Hey guys, welcome to the Splat Report. Lucky number 13. And unlike yesterday, our last episode, I got nothing but good stuff to say today. It's an awesome week, lots of exciting news. Let's get right into it because I'm pumped. First of all, Hive Esports. I'm not sure too much about the esports team. I tried to look into them, but they have picked up Deep Blues. This makes a third sponsored team in the Splatoon community. So this is amazing news. I'm not sure what kind of buying power or money Hive Esports is throwing around, but if it can mean more Deep Blues action, which actually, in spite of not being sponsored, have always seemed to show up in every major land that's been here so far. So anything that helps them out. Deep Blues has been one of the longest running teams. Lots of great people on that team. Definitely a big win and definitely great news. I know a lot of people are happy for them. I'm happy for them. They definitely deserve it. They put in the work. And they're also a really strong competitive team. Feed to Win, which I was calling them for the win for like the longest time. And no one corrected me. Shaq, if you've been watching these videos, you haven't been telling me I've been saying it wrong. I'm going to be mad. But they came out with a really hype, well done trailer. It is really cool. I don't think I've seen like a team trailer like that in quite a while. It was awesome to watch. I didn't realize Bursty was actually part of their team as well. That's another really strong competitor. Hasn't been as active lately, but he's really good and definitely well respected by other top players. So you know he's good. And that I was a little worried for a little while because I didn't really hear anything about them since Inkstorm debacle, and Tomo's been doing made some appearances. And I know half of well, actually I guess not half, but close to half is on Tomo. So like I'm just wondering how they're gonna juggle it, whether Tomo and Saikai is going away or they're continuing, and like For the Win just occasionally they'll come together for really big tournaments. I don't know what's going on with that. I guess to be seen. But hopefully we'll see more from Feed to Win in the future. That's definitely a super strong North American team that can definitely, I guess they've already proved they can stand toe-to-toe with STDX. But they've also proved that they can stand toe-to-toe with any team, and at least in the Western State. Also, Ghost Gaming. I don't know if you've been following some of their Twitters lately, but it has been crazy what they've been up to. I mean, first they go to Japan, they go back, and now they're in Los Angeles in the Ghost Gaming gaming house or gaming building, whatever it is, and they've been tweeting out certain products, which is all fine. I'll talk a little bit about that later. But I mean it's crazy to think about. They're going to be in New York, I think. Next week. Is it already next weekend, Long Island Summer Splat? So it's crazy. They go to Japan, then like next month, they go back to Europe, they go to LA, and then they're heading all the way over to New York, across the country, all to play Splatoon. I mean, that is absolutely outrageous. Of course, I love all the members of that team. They're awesome guys. Super good too. So it's awesome to see, people living out their dream, being successful. Really happy. Hopefully we'll see even more of that from other players. Really exciting to see though. It's awesome. If you haven't, I'm sure you all follow them, but if you haven't, I'd definitely check it out. They've been doing some really cool stuff. I'm still waiting on dude to put out some of that Japan footage. So hopefully we'll see that at some point when he's done traveling the world. So speaking of competitive gaming, Penguitt. I know we normally talk about this stuff, this type of stuff on the Splat Report, but I thought it was really awesome. You guys found that, probably if you're following it, you found out that, I mentioned that he was robbed while he was in Japan. His apartment got broken into. I guess his friends helped fit the bill for getting back because there was a delay, and they're still trying to work out things with the sponsors as far as getting recent reimbursement. But I guess everything's kind of crazy at the moment. There was that big hurricane that came through. I don't know if they're called typhoons on that coast, but he got delayed there, which, staying late in Japan, hey, it's still pretty fun. But, then he has to come back and deal with all, the police reports and all that junk. It's a mess. So, Hits will end up putting out fundraisers, started to GoFundMe. The thing, I don't know what Hitzel was thinking when he said like, "Oh, we'll have a weekend like fundraising stream." I don't understand how he thought that it was actually going to last an entire week to get funded, but I guess you always got to expect. You don't want to like expect like, "Hey guys, can we get this in 24 hours?" But in a few hours it was done. It was already fundraised. When I looked at it today, instead of like, it was started off at 1,200 was the goal. It's already at 2,054 donations, equaling, $2,000. Some people gave up to like 200, like 100 donations, $50 donations. This was nuts. I gave like 5. I mean, I don't want to brag. Certainly not, but like some of these people, they're super generous. It was amazing to see the generosity and love for the players that these people have, and really just giving up a lot of their cash to help him out. So that's always awesome to see. Always feels good. And so everyone's definitely behind Penguitt, and a lot of these pro players, they really enjoy. And Penguitt obviously really loved member of STDX. Some other ones, maybe not as much, but Penguitt definitely one of those people that like, it's hard to like look at the guy and find something bad about him. So I definitely feel a lot of love, a lot of feel good in the community. So I wanted to share that for you. It's definitely a heartwarming, uplifting tale. I think Hitzel is doing his stream tonight. It's probably going to be over by the time this gets out. So, but awesome job, guys. Let's see. Other thing that I was talking about is Paladins actually has been recruiting Splatoon YouTubers, and it was funny. Like, I think a later Splat report I mentioned like these like Paladins trying to kill Splatoon conspiracy theories, and it's like almost coming true now. It's kind of weird because Paladin is trying to take out Splatoon 2 as the premier Switch esport. No, I don't think so, but they are trying to, I guess, they figure, hey, Splatoon has esports, and it's kind of like a competitive game. Let's, get some popular YouTubers and possibly give them a sponsored deal, to promote Paladins. The weird thing about it is how nervous a lot of those guys seem about making a sponsored video. I'm kind of disappointed because not really with them. Well, it's like they're really worried about what their fans are going to think, and I can I definitely understand that, because a lot of people are really dumb about this kind of stuff, where it's like, oh, you betrayed us, Paladins, how dare you promote Paladins, you sellout shill bastard. And even people were giving Octoboy, Octoboy's like, hey, it'd be all right if I do a Paladins thing. I'm gonna give all the money I make back to the Splatoon community with giveaways and stuff. Like, people are like, nah, I don't really like that. Some were like yes, some were no. I would have kept all the money. I want you guys to know, flat out, second I get a chance to sell out, I am selling out hard. You will see like giant logos like right across here with like Dr. Pepper or like Monster energy drink. It's gonna be disgusting, but I'm gonna do it because let's be serious here. The more money you get, the more opportunities you get. It's not like, I know why people feel like these guys are already like making content out of basically love for the game. They're not like, oh yes, let me take this game that's like nowhere near as popular as like almost any competitive game in the world, and I'll make money off of it. Yeah. It's like if you were like gonna like play League of Legends, play Fortnite, like do videos on like Minecraft or something that has like 1 million people watching it, I don't understand how like it's so small, the possible audience. I mean, they're doing it because they love the game. I don't know why, but that's the way people are. And I guess I'll talk about it a little bit more later in some of the comment sections too. But I always thought it was funny that these people are so worried. Like, sell out, make some money. Do what you can. The way I see it, the more money people can make, the more they can focus on making great content for the game, following their passions. When you can merge that in with making a living, it's just the best thing ever. And advertisers are one way you do it. Sponsors are one way you do it. So, do it. All right. And the last piece of news I wanted to get to is Wadsm has made a post that he's kind of stepping back from competitive. He did say, he hasn't really found a team. He's, and it hasn't been really, feeling the competitive scene lately, but he's decided that, he's going to step back, he's going to focus on content, giving back to the community, doing things like TOing and that kind of stuff, and that's awesome. He made a great video about how to get good in Splatoon. It's actually hosted on inktv.media along with my videos, so I think that almost kind of elevates me, since we're both like guest content creators on InkTV. I don't know. I'm trying to sort of figure out a way to sort of wedge me in, with Wadsm, as successful as he is. I don't know how, I haven't quite figured out the best way to do that yet, but anyway, I can promote myself, essentially. But what I want to talk about, what I thought was really interesting, is when he put out that video about how to get good, Sendu actually had some disagreements with some of the points he made in the video. And I always thought it's really interesting when you have like two really high-level players. Like, these are not, actually, call them high-level, like these are top-level players when they're playing at the best. I mean, Wadsm beat STDX in the World Championships. They lost to Japan on backsquids, but these are both players at absolute top of the game. And the thing that he was disagreeing about, I think the main thing he had a problem with, is when Wadsm said, don't die. And Sendu has always actually been a really big proponent of playing aggressive. Like, if you avoid dying, you're probably not making the best plays possible. And it's, I think, a really interesting topic, because in some ways, you're trying to give like in general advice, and obviously dying is bad. It's not, you don't like dying like, yeah, that was a success. I mean, if you took out 2 people, you would consider it a success. And sometimes even a trade is good in some certain circumstances, but it's a complicated issue. How do you make the best call? How do you give the best advice? I know when Sendu was a few coachings that he was actually able to give me, he basically said, you need to be more confident in your 1v1s. You have to kind of, when you commit to fighting it, you have to fight it. You can't just kind of like back off or mill around. You have to really commit and get aggressive, especially if you're playing a role like Blaster, where it's supposed to be aggressive. You can't just sit around doing nothing. Like, if you're not fighting or slaying, if a Slayer's not slaying people, then you're not really doing your job. Though at the same time, I mean, at what point do you say, like, you're 20 points away from your special? Do you go in, or do you farm and actually get your special, then go in with that? If you're 2 down, obviously you wouldn't necessarily want to get aggressive. You had to pull back. I think FLC made this like sort of like flow chart, or in general rules, like if you're equal and you're basically both teams are equal, you're up and you don't there's really no advantage. The best thing to do is just sort of team up and look for a pick. When you're equal and you have the objective, best thing you do at this point is trying to push in a little bit, get aggressive, push in. Again, team up and try and pick off. Obviously, if you're ahead, actually, I'm probably butchering this, but obviously, if you're ahead and you have the objective, you need to push forward. If you're ahead and you don't have the objective, you need to push in and get the objective and kind of secure the area. If you're down, you want to back off and try to stall. So basically, the in general idea is you have to be really have to have a really good game sense, understand who's up and who isn't, and that can be really actually difficult, because there's also the idea of like, it's not just what's on the top at a time. You also have to factor in is he coming back from spawn? Is he going to jump in? Is your teammates actually there? Because you could look at it, and if you haven't been paying attention, see like everybody's up, but it's actually like all 3 people are coming back from spawn, so you could be stuck in the middle of nowhere with no help at all, which that's happened to me before. I'm like, where the hell is everybody? And then I hit X, and they're all coming back from spawn. I'm like, oh, I guess that's why I was alone. So it is a complicated topic, and I actually kind of wish they'd argue about it a little bit more. I think their other point of disagreement was Wadsm actually focus on individual parts of your play in solo. When Sendu is more like, I don't really see a value to that. You just basically play the whole thing at once and practice that way. That could be more differences of opinion, but I really actually would like, for some of these really top level players just kind of like dig deeper into it. I know in a short video, it's kind of hard to define, specific scenarios or really like delve into these deeper topics, because they might border on being like a little bit boring or tedious, but I still think there's definitely some value in it. And that's actually one of the reasons I kind of like Sendu's videos, is he does kind of delve a little bit deeper into some of these topics rather than come out with a more generalized view of things. So that's it for what I have to say. Let's move on to viewer comments. Now, let me start out with, we're talking about BNS Cryptic Spoon, which, funny enough, this week's or next week's Splatfest is going to be Fork versus Spoon, so he's going to be featured in Splatfest. I would hope he's picking Team Spoon. Let's see. Was this your first video edit? I swear I've never seen a cut in any of the videos you've done. LOL. I also super appreciate your Splat report series. I watch every single one. If you haven't dealt with Spoon online, he misspells a ton of things. So just you misspell Splat report is not surprising at all. I did respond to him, but I do edit. I've edited quite a few videos, actually, not a whole lot though, and so and especially like in a setting like this where I'm sitting still, it's really easy. I can edit. Not really moving my chest a little bit, maybe my hands, so you don't really notice. Not really noticeable unless you really pay attention that I'm actually editing things. But yes, I do, and I also appreciate the kind word Spoon. I appreciate him too. I think what Black and Spoon doing are super important and really an awesome pillar. They're pillars of the community, in my opinion. What they're doing with Ink TV and all the projects they've been doing, it's really important. And of course, my friend Sydney Dunaway has given me another awesome comment. He's really been keeping this section of it alive. More than anyone else. I do appreciate all the time he puts into actually long-written, well-written, thoughtful comments. So thank you very much, Sydney. Let's go right into it. He had no idea that happened. I avoid Twitter like the plague. Haha. Good policy, actually. Something I should probably do a little more often. I actually use, especially with Splat Report, I use a thing called TweetDeck. And like you can actually load up columns with just certain people's posts. Other than like some crap timeline, whatever Twitter gives you, it can be a mess. So I can just actually because I follow a lot of different people with my normal account, just in case. But the more I'm looking, the more I'm seeing the opportunity cost is pretty low for following a lot of different things. Maybe you'll get something interesting, but more than often than not, it's very specific people that are actually putting up some really high quality posts, really interesting posts. And the number of movers and shakers in the community isn't that high. It's really only a percentage of them, so it's not too hard to kind of decide just who to follow and who to have a column to figure out what's going on in the community. But of course, if you always have suggestions, any of you guys, and who I should follow or who has really good tweets, send them to me in the comments or DMs or whatever. However you can get a hold of me, because I'm always interested in seeing expanding if I haven't gotten a corner of this community that I should. So let me know. All right, let's move on to his comment. More of his comment. My condolences to the BNS staff. They work extremely hard to make a weekly show that's both entertaining to watchers and beneficial to players. It makes me sad that they've come under so much shit. At the same time, considering BNS is probably one of the biggest events in the Splatoon community and certainly the biggest weekly event, there will probably be more and more complaints raised about everything. That's 100% true. It's the more popular you get, the more haters you're going to attract. It's really and honestly, I think some of the hate was because it's just been so popular, and it's almost like if you don't like it and it's popular, you almost feel like an outsider for not liking it. So that could be where some of the hate came from, or some of the bitterness came from that was directed at the event. I write quite a bit, and if there's one thing I've learned, you can never make everyone happy. If they get rid of sound bites, for example, a whole different section of people would likely start complaining about it. Often you just can't win. You have to lay out a vision. you have to lay out your vision, and people either take it or leave it. If they had a second weekly tournament that is more serious, they might be able to satisfy most everyone, but they probably don't have the time or the funds to make it happen. Staff are people with lives who dedicate a good portion of their night and their own wallets to what's essentially a passion project, and that's absolutely right. I just don't see how they could possibly do, another event like that of that size. It's really hard to take on, and I mean Blake, I think, is mostly the sort of like engine sort of running it, especially with like his like super powered computer or great internet connection. So I mean he has a full-time job and he has a family, and so it's really hard for people to fit that in. So, and if you're not really making anything off it, you have to just do what you can, and then, like I said, you have to be very disciplined about it, because you don't want to start something and realize, holy crap, there's no way I can keep this up. That just doesn't help anything. As for the commentary, while I understand the complaint, I really like it. People need to keep in mind that BNS lets pretty much anyone cast, many of whom never done it. The more casual attitude, helps ease them into it. And even if it was more serious, they're not going to be at, say, Blex. And then in quotations, I originally was going to use 9, but since he's considered the premier Splatoon caster, I thought that was unfair. That's true. I don't think there's really nobody better than 9 at the moment level, because Blake has plenty of experience in casting that simply don't. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, people want more serious, like, analytic casting. Like, if you're starting out, I mean, you can kind of do play-by-play, but that's probably going to get kind of boring, because you're just telling people what's on the screen, and coming up with something. If you're not used to doing it, or you haven't really got your feet into it, or thought about it in your head, it's hard to just come up with it on the fly. I mean, there's like a lot of great players, but even like top level players, if they haven't really like thought about how to express it, then it's going to be hard for them to do that, especially just right in the middle of if they've never done it, trying to learn how to commentate. I would say like a lot of like some of the Twitch streamers that have done it before are a little bit better suited to it, because they're just used to talking while they do something, or expressing their thoughts on Splatoon. They have practice in some ways. But yeah, you're absolutely right. It's going to be really hard to get really high level commentary with essentially as volunteers. See, it's a process like anything that takes practice, and guess what? A lot of people aren't going to be great or even good to start out with, and that's okay, because BNS is a place to learn and get better. But we'll also have fun, and I really like that. I 100% agree with that. One final point. The Splatoon is going to grow. The weekly format does need to be more prevalent. Tournaments are great and hype, but the meat of any truly competitive sports are the leagues and tables. I'm not quite sure what tables mean, but I assume it's some sort of like weekly format. In a tournament, you can get hot and manage to pull off a tourney win. Leagues are slow burn with greater emphasis on consistency. I definitely agree with you. I definitely think weeklies are really important, and it's a shame that quite a lot of them have kind of fallen off lately, because it is a great way. I know a lot of teams have started off doing weeklies. Leagues, I think Ludi is great. My only problem is, like, I wish they had a better way to output it, as far as like the scores or even streams. Is really hard to follow, because, and I think TAS will have this problem too, is like you never really know when a match is going to go on. Unlike BNS, where like Thursday night, all right, it's going to be there. You got time. You can even if you didn't want to catch pools, you could probably pretty much figure out when you'd have to tune in, or even if you missed it yesterday, you can watch it the day later and see what's going on. With Ludi, it's much harder, and it's great for the people involved, the actual like players. I do love the sort of like seeding format. So like if you're a lower level team, that's trying to get better, you're at least playing against other teams that aren't going to like demolish you. And BNS is also kind of good for that too, because the first 2 games you probably are going to get demolished. That's at least how it worked with me, for my experience. But once you get in like that 3rd, 4th, 5th round, you start getting around teammates that are closer to your level, and you can actually win some games. And those are the ones that are really enjoyable, the ones you actually think you're going to win. I still remember the first stream I had in BNS with my old team when I was brief stint. I was playing competitive on a team called Ouroboros. We actually had to fight Deep Blues, and it was just a massacre. I mean, Umbre and Taylor basically turned our spawn to a shooting gallery. They were just absolutely demolishing us. So that was, in some ways, it was fun. It was an interesting experience. But like when you're going as a team like that, it's hard to learn in some ways when you're just getting like absolutely blown up. So yeah, leagues are definitely important. Weeklies, hopefully we see more. It's a shame Swift Second Saturdays stop, but I can understand that Jordan can only do so much. He's already like the TO, and you know we have a few like new team tournaments. Hopefully leagues I think are really awesome too. Ludi obviously being the one, but it's only a certain part of the year, and I really hope they can find some way to make it more of a spectator event as well. I'm not quite sure they can do that, but I'm definitely, and you know, more consistency on a league, you know, with more consistency on the match time, so it's a little easier to follow, but we'll see. I mean, right now, let's just take what we can get. Of course, finally, of course, this sort of thing takes a lot of time and effort to establish, but similar to BNS is the future. I'm also the opinion that more tournaments leagues should be mode specific. Another quirk about BNS that I really like. Totally agree there. I like BNS too because it's a lot easier to prep for, and you only have to focus on one specific mode. So if there's a certain weapon that's just not good in a certain mode, you can just sort of forget about it and just practice on that specific mode. So I think that's definitely a good thing, and just sort of makes practicing easier, and it sort of gives more focus to what you're going to be playing. All right, this is probably my longest Splat report ever, so I guess it's not that unlucky. Thank you guys, really appreciate it. Again, like, subscribe, if you want to support me. inktv.media, you can find my videos there. Really appreciate the comments. Like I said, if there's any comment you want to discuss, please do it. And please do it in the comments below. And I'll see you guys later. Thank you.